Greetings. I wanted to first start off this video by sending my condolences to the family and loved ones who lost anyone in this catastrophe that took place on July 4th in Texas, New Mexico, North Carolina, and the surrounding counties. But I kind of just wanted to discuss some of the topics that are being talked about in regards to this terrible storm. There's a lot of rumors going around about the cloud seeding that apparently, supposedly, takes place in Texas. And they have on the record that the CEO of Rainmaker admits to not cloud seeding in the area where the Texas flooding is happening. But it wasn't 2 days before. He says that they suspended operations the day before the flash flood warnings. Our meteorologists actually proactively suspended operations a day before the National Weather Service issued a flash flood warning. So we were ahead of the curve. Now, the media finds a way to make real events, real things that are happening that are considered conspiracy theories like chemtrails. They find a way to misappropriate them on events and turn them into psyops. So I just wanted to clear up the whole thing that, cloud seeding and chemtrails and the negative ions that are coming down on us are harmful and they're not good for our environment. But unfortunately, I do not believe that this is the answer to what caused this horrible, horrible catastrophe on July 4th either. So I actually don't believe the Rainmaker, but I do not believe that the cloud seeding caused this. Now, what I am concerned about is the fact that they opened up floodgates on July 4th. As you can see, this article is saying that LCRA say that they opened up the floodgates of the Stark Dam and the Wirtz Dam. And they did this on July 4th. They're saying that they did it to redirect the waters, but the timing just seems very bizarre, and I just don't know why they would have opened up those floodgates so soon. And shortly after they opened up those floodgates, the inpour of water just devastated Texas. It's horrifying. The videos are all on the internet. I'm sure you all have seen them. But it just says 2 dams were washed out, and where Tom Miller Dam currently stands, downtown Austin would somewhat regularly see significant flooding in the early 20th century. So they're saying that, they opened up these gates because prior to them even having these gates, Austin, Texas was seeing crazy floods prior to that. But it's saying that the flooding began around 4 a.m. Rain fell at rates 12 inches pouring an hour, causing the Guadalupe River to rise 26 feet in 45 minutes. The disaster particularly impacted Camp Mystic, a girls' summer camp. Now, there is a influencer who did a phenomenal job explaining this, and I'm going to play her videos for you right now because there are a lot of odd connections with this Mystic camp and the children who go there and who they're related to. And it's also odd that no one is bringing up a certain point that this influencer is bringing up in regards to Jeffrey Epstein's ranch in Arizona, which was right in the flood line. So while everybody's looking for this little black book, his ranch is washing away. Just listen. So this is the influencer whose video I'm going to share a couple of snips with you. Her name is Risflex.
What's up, y'all? It's Risflexin. Welcome back to the channel. Today is Wednesday, July 9th,
all right,
2020.
and I just want you guys to know that I am not trying to steal her content. It's just that she just did a phenomenal job explaining what is going on and the the connections with the camp and Jeffrey Epstein. So enjoy. Also, subscribe to her channel. She has a lot of amazing documents and breakdowns that you probably want to check out.
A catastrophe. This is Camp Mystic, and you're hearing a lot about Camp Mystic in the news. For one, how many deaths there were, and then all of the odd connections that they have to elite society. Here's the Camp Mystic website, and they say that they have lost 27 campers and counselors. The state is reporting that today over 161 people have died in total, and Camp Mystic accounts for 27 of those people. So that's a lot. But the odd thing is, Camp Mystic was not the only child camp along the river. There was 2 other camps right near there, Camp Waldemar and Camp La Junta. Only Camp La Junta and Camp Waldemar did not have any deaths. They had children right by the river. They didn't have any deaths. It was just Camp Mystic. So there's just something odd going on with Camp Mystic. And I don't blame Camp Mystic themselves, because the owner of the camp actually died trying to save some of the children, rest in peace. But regarding the history of the camp and all of the political elite that have historically sent their children here, it's just a little odd. Another article saying that, yes, the Camp La Junta and Camp Waldemar didn't lose anybody. They're all safe. Here is another picture from Camp Mystic as the floodwaters started rising at a rate faster than people could take action. Dozens of children disappeared in the floods. Now, when you look through the list of all of the children that passed away at Camp Mystic, there's one particular one that stands out. Now, I haven't looked at all of them, but this one particularly is making headlines. Janie Hunt, 9 years old, among one of the youngest that died. Now, this is where it gets weird. She's related to Clark Hunt, owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, the Super Bowl team. Rest in peace to this little girl. Her family rose to be top wealthiest in the entire world off of the land that she died on. Yeah, the Hunts. They own practically all of Texas. They owned, at least at one point, I don't know about right now, but they basically owned all of Texas's oil. I don't know how you even own the underground, but somehow they were masters of the underground. They owned all of the underground operations in Texas. Not only that, but they were besties with owners of the underground in other states too. Like over in LA, the Getty. Yes, the Hunts were besties with the Gettys. You know, the Getty Museum. We're not gonna get into what's under there. Here is who this little girl was related to. Clark Hunt, grandson of the oil tycoon H.L. Hunt. He acquired rights to all of the oil under Texas, and it literally put him at the wealthiest person in the whole world. Just makes you wonder how they could be so careless with one of their family members. I don't know. But J. Paul Getty considered H.L. Hunt to be, in terms of extraordinary independent wealth, he's the only one. He's the only man. And here's a little visual you can see of the land that they owned in Texas. There's a lot. It's basically like the whole thing. It's all good. It's all good. Hustlers. Hustlers is what we like to see. Historically, Texas's political elite have been sending their daughters to camp at Camp Mystic. And it's a tradition spanning back hundreds of years. The daughters of former Texas Governor Dan Moody and Price Daniel, John Connally, the daughters, granddaughters, and great-granddaughters of Democratic President Lyndon B. Johnson, JFK's successor, James Baker, who served as Chief of Staff to Republican Presidents Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush, sent his daughter and a granddaughter to Camp Mystic. Campers would go on to become executives for Neiman and Marcus, dance with London's Royal Ballet, own a Gymboree franchise in the former Soviet Union, etc. Mystic alum Catherine Jones told a reporter, "I don't care where my goddaughter goes to college, but I do care where she goes to camp." Laura Bush was a camp counselor here. Hey. And then she went on to marry George Bush, who was president. Now, I did a video on all of the females among political elite that have had bizarre mishaps and sacrifices in their life before getting into positions of power years ago. This was 3 years ago we did this video, and it seems like people are starting to catch on to this being a thing, you know, because I didn't come up with this theory. New York Post is writing many articles on this concept. Political elite are sending their daughters and the females of the elite family to this camp. And we are noting it's very rare that you will see a female in an elite position of power in society. So when you see trends among those few women of bizarre mishaps in their lives, people close to them passing away in a freak accident, it just makes you wonder. And they had more staff on duty. So then how was there a disconnect and not informing a child camp that was going to be right next to the water, you know? And even more so, billionaire elite that have their children at that camp, how could they be so careless? Like, you know, I personally know elite families, and they are, it's not hard to like keep tabs on your children. To me, it just seems like something that could have easily been avoided.
Look, I think it is reasonable over time to engage in a retrospective and say at every level what could have been done better, because all of us would want to prevent this horrific loss of life. But I think just immediately trying to use it for either side to attack their political opponents, I think that's cynical and not the right approach, particularly at a time when we're dealing with a crisis and we're dealing with grief.
I don't know whether the Chiefs are directly involved or not, but it just sure is a little curious. It's just a trend that we've noticed on the channel among females from Texas specifically, actually, and elite society in general. It'd be actually interesting to revisit that video, but once I start it, an ad's gonna pop up. So the cloud seeder on the Sean Ryan show, so many getting whisked away. You guys may have seen all these videos of some politicians in Texas. I just deleted that article because I did not want to talk about this, but I'm gonna mention it. Some politicians like saying mean things about the children that go to these camps and how they're like supporters and Christians and they're pieces of S. When you look at the camp's website, I don't know, like maybe it's just a sorority thing or fraternity thing, but like they had shirts that literally said KKK on it. Like I know that it's not a thing. It looked like the fraternity lettering, but like I see why it would trigger some people that are really sensitive to that topic. Just saying. I'm gonna try and, okay, let me show you. So this is the website, Camp Mystic. So if you like just scroll through these, just like wait for them to come around, one's gonna pop up and I don't know. Now it's not only Christians that attended this camp. Apparently, because there's just no other camps around, a lot of Jewish kids go to this camp too. So for any politicians or anybody to say, you know, that it's a racist camp, that's not true because they welcomed everyone. But I don't know why they had that picture, the KKK, and maybe my glasses were dirty or something. Anyway, so we're gonna look through those and then I'm gonna pull up some more. We're not gonna go into this girly. The flooding in New Mexico is wild right now. Now that is a juicy story. See the KKK there? You saw it? We just passed it, y'all. Okay, on to this one. So just so you can understand both sides of this, like why people are triggered. Anyway, look at this flooding in New Mexico. Now, we know too much about New Mexico.
No. Oh my God.
I'm going to pull up a map, but that is unreal. That is not America. That just does not happen in America. That is horrific. New Mexico is like a desert. Only thing out there is Epstein's ranch. Wait, where's the little black book? Oh, wait, sorry. It got swept away in the floods. Gone. But wait, that's where Little E's ranch is. Sorry. Don't you find it interesting timing, too, that this beautiful story pops up right after, you know, they say, oh, sorry, no black book. Okay, go about your merry days. God, someone distract them with a different story. Psh, floods. No one is forgetting, though. It is trending right now on X. People want to know. People want to know about the island. I want to know about his New Mexico ranch right now that is getting flooded out. When you dive deeper into New Mexico, we're not going down this rabbit hole, but I mean, you guys know the Diddy's security guard owns border property down here, right where the wall stops being built. Little E had an insulated New Mexico ranch where to the north, producers in Hollywood owned property, like directly on Little E's property. To all of the sides, it was all of the political elite, and it was right backed up to the mountainside, right? And then the U.S. military and government owned property right in the center. We've done videos on that on the Patreon. Yeah, as you guys know, this whole area is just controlled by military, and half of it, they don't let you in. They don't let you in. Men in Black will come out and tell you to get away. Here is Dr. Christina Probst, another one of these girlies that are still wearing masks to this day. More about what the locals have to say.
Everything was gone, and then we started seeing the cabins floating from the other RV parks, floating down the river. We started seeing cars with lights on and people
Texas.
honking inside their cars, and they just were floating away, and it was pitch black.
Gotta get out
We
of your
had
car.
28 RVs parked in here, and they're all gone. Every single one of them is gone.